Hello and welcome to I Know Nothing, where I have none of the answers, I just hope to have some of the questions. I have struggled to keep up with videos on this channel, which is not something I anticipated, and also is something that I envision will not be as big an issue in the future. I am committed to making a video a week here. I'm trying to do it the same day, but that day was Sunday, which maybe I should change because that's the same day I'm trying to have videos come out on my main channel. So maybe that's the scheduling of that is screwing it up. The other issue is just that I've kind of taken on this challenge on my other channel. I'm doing reaction videos to season 1 of Doctor Who over there, and I started mid-season. So as opposed to just going from that point on, I've been going back and editing reactions I've shot for the past episodes. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing like 3 episodes a week, which is a lot. And it's probably not what I'm going to do going forward. But it's been good as far as challenging myself to get through something like that. I knew that it would be good practice for editing. It's helped me build up my channel a little bit. I'm still a small channel, but I've had little milestones I've hit so far, so everything is positive. And I will, after the season's over, be going down to less videos per week. But the reason I'm talking about all of this here is because that actually kind of goes into the topic I want to talk about today, in addition to just giving an update. I've had other topics I want to make videos on. They're very personal. They're things that mean a lot to me, or just things that I find interesting that I want to put some effort into, but I haven't had the opportunity to construct them the way I want to yet over here. So if I'm going to do them, I want to do them right. But also the goal of this channel is just to turn on the camera and talk, just to turn on the camera and put something up. And so I didn't want to miss a week. I wanted to make sure I at least put something up. Back to the point I was making, the topic I want to talk about today is, the best way I can say it, I think, is betting on yourself. It's been a very interesting experience for me starting this channel, this reaction channel that I'm running now, and starting to do reaction videos. I spent at least 2 or 3 years, I think, just watching reaction videos, just as a viewer, enjoying them. It never occurred to me for whatever reason that I might want to do them myself. And then one day I just decided that I wanted to give it a try. And I'm really glad that I've done it. And I really want to stick with it. I really want to keep the channel growing. But as far as betting on yourself, this is something I've struggled with a lot over the course of my life. Being somebody who deals with depression, with anxiety, with self-worth issues, it's hard, even if you are good at things. For someone like me, it is hard to believe in yourself. It's hard to give yourself credit for being good at things, or at least being capable of things, being able to learn things, being able to develop your abilities. Even if you're just straight out good at certain things, it's difficult to allow yourself to feel that. And so things like this in the past have been difficult for me, especially if there's not immediate positive reinforcement, like immediate success. If you do a video and it doesn't do terribly well. For someone like me, not just a video, like if you do something, put a lot of effort into something and it doesn't do terribly well, it's incredibly demoralizing, and it makes it very likely, depending upon how demoralizing it is, that you will quit right there. Just say, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to put in the time and effort into this thing if it's just going to lead nowhere. And with this, and with other creative things I've been doing lately, I have felt the exact opposite of that. Yes, of course, if you do something, you put a lot of effort into it, you want it to do well, but it's not going to happen every time. And the important thing is to try to figure out a way to have that not be discouraging, to find a way to keep going forward no matter how it does. If it doesn't do well, try to figure out the things you can learn from it. I know that I'm speaking in kind of very generic terms. When I've heard people speak like this in the past, I've also been one of the people rolling their eyes and like, oh yeah, these general platitudes of believing in yourself. But to be honest, lately I've really found this part to be true, which is I'm not making these videos because I think any one of these is just going to take off and everything's going to change. Now that could happen, but I'm not counting on that happening. I'm also not making these because, oh, this is the goal of my life is to make reaction videos. This could be very fun, and if it goes somewhere, I could potentially make at least some of a living, maybe, or at least something that could help my family or whatever doing this utilizing something I love already, which is movies and television, mainly movies, but television as well, and just making videos where I react to watching it or talking about it or or whatever. I mean, that's kind of a win-win all around. And if anybody's watching it, that's even better. But the idea, I feel like, as far as betting on yourself, is to not put so much pressure on it. It's like, I put all this effort into this thing and it just has to do well. If it doesn't do well, I'm just going to be crushed. Each video I make on here is a bet, on my reaction channel, is a bet I'm making on myself, which, to be able to do that for once, for me, and to actually believe in it, feels really good. No matter how it comes out, it feels really good to bet on myself for once, to make this little statement of, I made this, I'm proud of it, here it is, and hope that it goes somewhere, and sometimes maybe it will, and sometimes it won't. So each video I make further than that, continuing on, is first of all widening the net as far as YouTube videos go. That's the wonderful thing about YouTube videos, is that just because it doesn't necessarily do well, depending upon the kind of content you make. If you do stuff that's very time sensitive, then yeah, it's only going to be relevant for a certain period of time, and then people probably aren't ever going to look for it again. But there's certain types of content you can put, or certain types of videos you can put out there that will remain relevant on into the future, or maybe they don't even perform real well in the beginning, but you still have them sitting out there. All of a sudden, maybe a few months down the road, a few years down the road, they take off. The fact that you made that bet on yourself and you put that out there to be found by somebody is what allows that to happen. And so every one of those is casting the net further and making it more possible to grow your channel, bring in viewers, but also every one of those videos is me making another bet on myself. I believe that I can do this relatively well, that I'm going to get better as time goes on, that I'm putting out something that I feel is of value, at least as something entertaining for someone to watch for a few minutes. And I think this is a worthwhile pursuit for me, and to put something of myself out there in the world. And that has been very hard for me in the past, to feel like I have anything worthwhile to share with people like that. Part of the problem with having self-worth issues is that you don't feel like you're worth people's time. You just don't. You don't believe it. Even if people tell you to your face, a lot of times, you just feel like they're being nice. Because I mean, it's the same, I'm sure, with any kind of psychological issues or dysfunction, is like you convince yourself of your perspective. You feel this way about yourself, so how could anybody else feel differently? If you have negative feelings about yourself, you really convince yourself, how could other people see anything better in me than what I see? I'm closest to me, so how could they possibly see anything better? And that's a really hard way to live. Not just not believing in yourself, but actively feeling negatively about yourself on a regular basis. So for someone like that, for someone like me, to let in the possibility that I have something of value to share with the world, even if it's just minor entertainment value, that's still a positive step for me. And it's felt really good. Even though it's been a lot of work, it's been more rewarding work. It's been something I want to continue doing, even having to pour hours and hours into it. If you're pouring hours and hours into something that not only you enjoy, or I mean, not every part of it's enjoyable. I mean, it gets, at a certain point, it's work, and it just, you got to take a break away from it, and you feel the effects of that eventually. But not only that you mainly enjoy it, but also that at the end of it, you believe in what you're doing. You believe that you enjoy this, and this is what you want to spend your time and effort doing, and that you believe that you're putting something that you value out into the world. Then it's different than putting out that effort for something that you don't care about, or something you don't believe in, something that's just to pay the bills. I would really like to have a job like that, where I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm putting out a bunch of effort and using my talents and my skills and all of that for something I believe in like that. And I feel like this is at least directing me on the track to do that. If it will actually become something of enough size to make any of that possible, where, I mean, I can still do it like this forever. Nobody could take it away from me like that. But if the idea that it would ever become maybe of any size that I could do this as part of my employment, or it could do something, it could bring in something that would help my family. I don't know if it'll ever get to that level. I hope that it will. It would be a positive response and positive reinforcement for the effort I'd put in. But yeah, I am really glad I'm doing this. I'm probably going to do it a little bit less in the weeks coming, in that this has been like running a marathon kind of, but it's been a self-imposed marathon. Nobody made me do this. So I'm going to come back to a more reasonable schedule. But I've had people who have subscribed. I have people who have left very, very nice comments. It's been moving almost in a way, just that people have been so nice nice and supportive, have said things like, really looking forward to seeing your channel grow and all this kind of stuff. And it might not mean as much to people saying it, but for someone like me trying to believe in themselves, it means a lot. And I know there's negative out there. I've run into a little bit of it already, just a tiny bit, but where in life is there not negative? I don't know what this video's been. I guess I'll find out in the editing. And I feel like I'm kind of echoing some of the things I talked about in the last video. I think I talked about believing in yourself and stuff. This is kind of an offshoot of that. But specifically this idea of me seeing each of these videos as another bet on myself. If there is anybody watching this, and last time I checked there really wasn't, but that's fine. But people might find it one day. If you have those issues like I do, again, the name of this channel is I Know Nothing, and I start off by saying I don't have all the answers. I just hope to have some of the questions. So this is just from me, my interpretation, my perspective on it. But if you suffer through these issues like I do, and especially if there's something you want to do in your life, something creatively you want to do, or just anything, whatever it is, if you can find the first steps that you need to take, don't look at the whole thing and be overwhelmed. But if you can find the first steps that you need to take, just the very, very first ones, toward whatever it is you want, and if you can make those steps, or start making those steps, and believe in yourself enough to do that, I think that you will be shocked how good that feels. How good it feels to believe in yourself at least a little bit for once. And how good it feels, even if they are small steps, to be making some kind of progress towards something you really want. To be on the road towards something you really want, even if you're just at the very beginning. And even if the progress is slow, at least it's progress. At least it's headed that way. And as you go, maybe you can pick up the pace. Maybe it doesn't have to be so slow. After a while, you look back and you'll have made way more progress than you would have imagined you would have been able to. So do that for yourself if you can. Just find the first step and make it, and then move on to the next one. And bet on yourself. Feels really good to believe in myself enough to be able to put these believe that I can make these videos and put them up. And I have. And they're okay. They're pretty good. I'm not going to say they're the greatest things in the world, but they're pretty good. I'm proud of them. So, don't have a natural way to end this. Perhaps we should end on a dance number. That's something people joke about. Or like TV or movies, if they don't know how to end an episode or end a movie, that they'll just go out on a dance or musical number. Anyway, whatever this has been, whatever ramblings I've put down in the last few minutes here, I'm happy to have had you here with me, because if you're watching this, you were here with me. And I wish you well. I wish you luck in whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Do your best to try to believe in yourself and to bet on yourself. Each time you make something, you put it out there, or you do something toward what it is you want, you put it out there, you're making a bet on yourself. And it's worth it. Trust me. Have a good day.